My name is Lily Dahlheimer, and this is my biology role model project. My biology role model is Emilyn Alejandro. She's a professor at the University of Minnesota, and she works in the Department of Integrative Biology and Physiology. She did her undergrad at the University of Washington, Seattle, and at the University of Washington, she said she developed a special interest in medical research, and that is what fueled her future career aspirations. She completed her PhD at the University of British Columbia, and she mainly concentrated on autocrine signaling mechanisms of insulin on beta cells. At the University of Michigan, she studied beta cell development and the health effects of adversity in intrauterine environments in her postdoctoral training. So that's her science background, and you can kind of see this serving as a foundation for her future work. Some of her personal interests include traveling, mentoring. So she really likes to mentor postdocs, as you can see in the photo to the side. She's having a good time with some of them. So she acts as a great mentor for people in her lab. And she also describes herself as a hockey mom. So she loves to watch her children's hockey games as well. I admire Dr. Alejandro first because of the work she's tackling. I think the topic she's studying is extremely interesting. She's trying to figure out a genetic cause of diabetes and obesity, and trying to prevent that in early life, essentially, through examining those genetic causes. And you'll hear more about this when I explain one of her discoveries in the future. It'll make a little bit more sense. But I think tackling an issue as big as metabolic disease in early life is extremely significant, and I think it's just a great way to approach an issue that might be around for generations um, if it's not approached now. I also admire her passion and commitment to her work. In 2021, she was recognized as a McKnight Presidential Fellow for her outstanding mentorship. So she really cares about um, serving as a leader for the people in her lab, as well as the work she's doing for diabetes research. The field of biology she's mainly involved in is integrative biology and physiology. That's the department her lab is in. She's also a faculty member in the BMBB department, the pharmacology and therapeutics department, and the molecular, cellular, developmental biology, and genetics department. The main question she's focused on answering is how risk factors in early life can influence diabetes and obesity susceptibility. One primary literature article from 2024 focused on circadian rhythm disruption in mice. So essentially, she raised mice and altered their circadian rhythms to disrupt them. And she measured how this affected different metabolic processes from gestation to adulthood. So, two figures I picked out, you can see it's measuring glucose tolerance. So C is in male mice and D is in female mice. And if you look at D, you can see that the glucose tolerance decreased with the circadian rhythm disruption. So just an interesting way that something like circadian rhythms can affect important metabolic processes. One scientific discovery she made is the link between the mTOR protein and increased risk for developing type 2 diabetes and obesity later in life. So she essentially discovered that eliminating the mTOR protein in the placenta led to smaller birth weights, which acted as a higher risk factor for insulin resistance and obesity in adulthood, where conversely, when the mTOR protein was increased in the placenta, infants had higher birth weights and lower risk for obesity. These studies provided a link between the occurrence of a placental protein and risk for metabolic disease, serving to show that there may be a genetic link for metabolic diseases that might be thought to mainly be caused by lifestyle factors. So I thought this was a very interesting discovery. And then she said she'll continue her work through examining metabolic tissues that may have been impacted by the mTOR protein. In conclusion, Emilyn Alejandro is a dedicated biological scientist that conducts very significant research in the field of integrative biology and physiology, And I can definitely say she is my biology role model, even though I'm probably not the first to say this. Thank you for listening.